Okay. And okay, so welcome again to Adriatic Empires and Tyrrhenian Treasure Single Sailing Adventure. That is a mouthful, but thank you for joining me today. I want to make sure, first of all, have you all had a chance to look at the final vacation details?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. They should have been emailed to you. If you want to refer back to them, they are on the web page for our tour. Right down here on the left, you see the button, Your Travel Documents. So here it is. There's lots of good information. I'm not going over everything in here, but I'm going over the highlights and the important things. Okay, so first of all, please make sure your passport is still valid for 6 months after your return date. That's very important. Another thing, and I see it says by July 8th to check in. I have not done that yet. I just finished a tour. What is today? I just finished a tour on Thursday. So I will go and check in on the Star Clippers website. So if you have not done that, please do so. And I will show you farther down in this document. It gives you very detailed information how to do it. You can click on these links here. So I already did that just to show you. Where did that go? Here it is. So I clicked on my, what did it say? My cruise, and it brings me to my booking overview. So if you could fill in, the most important thing is the documents. To go through the personal details, emergency contacts, the documents is what they really want, your passport information. Not quite sure why this isn't, maybe if I enter, it might not be working because Zoom makes everything, when I'm on Zoom, it makes things very slow. Have you all checked in already?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you guys are great. Perfect. This is great. The other thing that Singles Travel has is the Fit and Willing to Travel commitment form. This really came into being during COVID. And we were traveling the end of 2020, and we've been traveling ever since. So even though COVID, there aren't any procedures, I don't want to say procedures, there's nothing mandatory in place anymore. I mean, I was even in Asia, we didn't have to test, there was nothing like that. It's just kind of our commitment to one another, to being respectful, kind, and also, we still do, if someone is exhibiting symptoms of COVID, we do ask if it gets to be several, let's say 2 days, someone is feverish and coughing and other people are maybe starting to get a little uncomfortable, we do ask that you self-test just so we know. And then we go from there. I just did a cruise. Nobody got COVID, but it is still around. So this Fit and Willing to Travel commitment is something that's mandatory that you need to sign for Singles Travel International.
Vicky, do we need to bring our own test?
So yes, we don't supply tests. I know that the ships have testing, but you have to pay for those. So if you can go get an inexpensive, if they're still inexpensive, the self-test, that would be good. Because I don't know how much it costs on board the ships. Or you could get one at a pharmacy, locally in Rome, at any port. They still have the COVID test available if you don't want to travel with one. This is our meet and greet right here. Okay, I'm going to skip all of this. And I'm going to get to the part about arrivals. So I see that, Catherine, you're the only one that's coming in early. Everyone else is, everyone else is coming for the 1-day pre-cruise. So, I will also be there. I arrive. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was Catherine, not Kathleen. Sorry, Kathleen. So, okay, so for our meeting today, you are all arriving on the 29th. There is a fixed price, the Rome airport. I believe it's 50 euros. What I do every time I get in a taxi, there are taxi queues right outside after you get your luggage. Depending on if you get your luggage, you exit into the arrivals hall. That's usually where you see drivers standing with the signs, and you just exit, follow signs. It will say taxi queue. They are all licensed taxis. And I usually say fixed rate, just to make it clear that you're telling them, there's a fixed rate, because taxi drivers all over the world can be a little tricky. So that's even if there are two of you in a car, the price might go up if you're coming in, but no one here is coming in late. So it usually goes up around midnight to 6 a.m., but you won't have to deal with that. So 50 euros. There is also the Leonardo Express train. I've taken that several times. It's just a matter of, do you mind paying more and getting directly there? Because if you take the Leonardo Express, you'll arrive at Tyrrhenian station. From Tyrrhenian, you still will have to take a very short taxi ride, or you can metro. So if anyone wants details about taking the train and then the metro to the hotel, I can provide that in an email tomorrow. Is anyone, well, I'll get into that. I will send an email, probably not tonight, but I'll send it out tomorrow. And it will have the link to this video, as well as I'll ask in the email, does anyone want the details on how to get there via train and metro? It's not hard, and it does save you some money. It just takes more time.
I think you're more likely to get robbed. Like I bought a purse that is at a travel place that you can't cut through.
Yes.
You can't the strap and run with it. So I don't know, if you're on a crowded train with your luggage, that's just my input.
It's definitely too, it's just more cumbersome. Like, I know I don't travel light. I always have the huge bag and then the carry-on and then my purse. So only time I've ever taken the train is when I was on a vacation and I had help. But I haven't done it alone.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
There's also a website that says you can get a private car for like the same price as a taxi. Have you
Okay. I've used Welcome Pickups before, not in Rome, but if you go to Welcome Pickups, they're all over it's all over the world. So you can do that. I know people have gone on to Expedia and they've booked private cars.
I just thought that'd be kind of cool because they have your name on a thing and it's like no muss, no fuss.
Correct. They're waiting for you. The taxi queue at the airport really isn't difficult either, though. It's right outside. So, but I understand if you want someone there, then you'll have someone, he or she will help you with your luggage. So I can also send out links to like Welcome Pickups if you want. And then on your own, you can go to Expedia. I think even Viator. Do you know that website?
Yeah.
They have transfers. Just make sure you're getting a private one and not a shared, because on the shared, you might be dropping so many other people off at different locations.
Yeah.
Vicky,
Yes.
just to clarify, the cab rate that is for the cab, not per person, correct?
Per cab, correct.
Thank you.
So if there are two of you in a taxi, the taxi is 50 euros total.
Split.
Yes, yes, total between the two of you. Even three, it's just will luggage, depending on how much luggage you all have. Yeah.
And do they take credit cards?
They usually, everyone I've been in, they have the POS.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And so if you get in the taxi queue, make sure before you get in that the driver does take credit card. That's just a way to ensure that you're not at the end, you know, that you haven't taken the trip and then he says, oh, I don't take credit card. Sometimes there is someone there managing the queue. Sometimes there's not. So if there's someone there managing, he or she will put you in a taxi that has credit card.
Great.
So we're staying at a really lovely hotel in a great location, right on Via Veneto. It's great. It's very, very nice. So we will be there. Everyone except one person will be there one night only. I will have a happy hour. So this is, you'll see here, this says the 2 nights. Since no one on this call is coming in on the 28th, I'll skip to the 29th. So you all will be arriving at different times. The hotel check-in, I believe, is 3. However, I will email before, request early check-in. That does not guarantee. You know, in fact, the past 2 summers, including this summer on the trips, we've gotten in right at check-in time. So I would not get your hopes up that you'll get to your room before 3 o'clock. That being said, you can store your luggage securely at the hotel. And a lot of times what they do, you can do the check-in process when you arrive. They'll want your passport. You check in, they can tag your luggage, store it securely. And then if you're out doing things and your room becomes available, they usually just take your luggage and put it right in your room for you. So the one person who's coming in early, she will be going on the hop-on, hop-off bus. I will plan on, I don't have a welcome desk that day. They have me meeting you all at 6 p.m. However, I will definitely be available earlier in the day. So when you arrive, text me, let me know that you've arrived. And usually what I'll do that morning is I'll go out and make our dinner reservations because I already know where I want us to go. So if I'm not at the hotel when you arrive, I will be back shortly. And then we can all go, you know, whoever's there, we can go to lunch together, or I can give you ideas where if you want to go do some shopping, if you want to visit a museum, something like that. If you want to do the hop-on bus, it's a really nice way to get an overview of the city without having to walk. So you can just simply ride it and do one of the loops. You know, you'll probably be very tired and your room won't be ready. Does anyone have I mean, that's really your only day in Rome. Do you have, does anyone want to go to the Vatican, for example? Or any museums anyone has their heart set on seeing? No, okay. I was going to say, if you do, I can send you the link to the official websites for tickets so that you make sure you have a ticket and an entry time. So 6 p.m. that night, we will all meet as a group for the first time. Complimentary drink on Singles Travel International, and the hotel has a really nice bar on the rooftop. So we will meet on there. It's the 7th floor. I will then hand out to you your welcome packets. New members get a Singles Travel International t-shirt, so I'll have that, and I'll have lanyards and name tags for everybody as well. And then we will go, whoever isn't too tired, to an optional dinner. Optional meaning it's not included. Come if you like. And I will definitely make sure it's close by, within walking distance of the hotel, because I know everyone's going to be really tired. And it will be nice Roman or at least Italian food. So you'll get a nice sampling of food from the area. Then the next morning, We have a free day until 2. We're not going to the ship until 2. So it is, if you wanted to do hop on, hop off, if you bought it the day before when you arrive, there's a 24 or 48 hour pass. If you buy the 24, it becomes, it starts timing down from the minute you get on the bus and they scan your QR code. So you could even take advantage of it the next morning, the morning of the 30th before we go. So checkout is at 11 a.m. What a lot of people have done in the past is they've actually cleared their room by around 9:30, and then they go out for the morning until 1. They have lunch out and then come back for the 2 p.m. Bus transfer. So that's something to think about too. Like I said, it's a nice way to see the city. You know, you have the ear pods that gives the explanation of what you're seeing. And also, if you just simply also just want to use it as a means of transportation, you can get off and then hop back on it later and ride back to where you got on. So does anyone have any questions at this point?
Vicky, should we bring US dollars or should we go ahead and convert everything to euro? Or what's your experience?
So not really any place takes US dollars.
Okay.
Everyone is on the euro except
Right.
I think Montenegro. So what I recommend is if you have a good relationship with your bank at home, to ask them about purchasing euros. Sometimes you can get a very good rate from a bank in the States. Otherwise, what I do is I just use my ATM machine, my debit card in an ATM, and I make sure I'm using an ATM that is affiliated with a bank. So for instance, if we're in Italy, it should be some Italian bank. If we're in Croatia, a Croatian bank. I've been seeing everywhere recently these ATMs called Euronet. It's not a bank, and they charge a 13% commission on top
Whoa.
of a horrible exchange rate.
Right.
So if you simply want to get money once you arrive, don't do it at the airport either. Our hotel is in Rome. There are at least 4 ATMs that are bank ATMs.
Okay.
And then the other good tip is when you do that, you always decline the conversion. It will ask, do you want it to be charged in US dollar or euro? Always pick euro. And even when you're buying on a credit card, choose euro, because your bank back home will give a better rate than the local bank or shop.
And Vicky, I would add to that, I think it's a really good idea about getting euro ahead of time. Actually, I know there's a few people here from Atlanta area, so Bank of America is my bank, and they actually FedEx me the euro overnight.
Yeah.
That's great.
I don't have to do anything and
Yes.
sign up on. And it's always good to have euro of the country, because you'll need it for tips, you know, housekeeping and street markets, that kind of thing.
So on the ship, you're right. The ship is, everything is charged in euro. I would say the room stewards, if you wanted to leave, so I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to say thank you, Kathleen. You're right. If you don't want to travel with hundreds or thousands of euros, get 300 from your bank.
Yep.
And then you can use your ATM.
Mhm.
For the tips on the ship, they recommend, I think on the information that is on their website site, it still says $8 a day. No, I think it's 8 euros, which, sorry, I think now it might be 11. And that is tips for the housekeeping crew on the ship, as well as all the dining crew. So
Is that 11 a day or 11 a week?
11 per person per day is their recommendation, Star Clippers.
Okay.
You can pay that at the end with credit card if you want. If you feel very strongly you don't want to do that at all, you can do that. You know, it's not obligatory. I do think they do put it on your statement every day. But if you felt like, you know, I just want to say, if you really feel strongly you don't want to pay that, you can go to the purser and do that. But it likely shows up on your room charge every day. And some people will say, what is this? I didn't do this. It's the tips that they add up. You can pay them at the end with credit card, or you can pay with cash to
Euro.
purser.
Okay.
Okay, so on the day that we go to the ship, we have a group transfer together. So, and it usually takes about an hour and a half from the center of Rome to the ship. The bus will be able to bring us right up to the ship. It'll be nice and easy. We'll all be together. And then I'll give you, on that drive, I'll give you more information about that day, what it's like to be on one of the Star Clipper's ships. We'll be on the Royal Clipper. It is their largest ship. It's beautiful. It has what they call it, a marine platform off the stern. And in certain ports where they're able to, they put the marine platform down, they put ropes out, they tie on rafts so you can just float in the Adriatic or the Mediterranean, depending on where we are at the time. They have kayaks, they have stand-up paddle boards, motorized. They don't have jet skis or anything like that. Plus, a lot of the ports don't allow motorized, loud motorized things like that. So, but it's something really nice. If you're in a beautiful place, you just feel like soaking in the sun. Hopefully we'll be able to do that on several of the ports that we're at. There's one bar on board, the Tropical Bar. It's where everyone convenes in the afternoons, in the evenings. It's where they play games at night, or if they have any entertainment. It's really kind of I like to call it a rustic experience. It's the antithesis of the 3,000, 4,000 people cruise ship.
Or more.
Where there are Broadway shows. It reminds me more of being with close family and friends, and just, I don't want to say camping because it is not, it is elegant, but I'm just thinking of games I played when we were young. So sometimes, they'll get these really funny, silly games and everyone gets involved. They have, what's it called? A fashion show that you can participate in, and you wear clothing from their sloop shop. And of course, they're trying to sell the clothes. The crew gets involved. There is a talent show, which is always really fun, that the crew and the passengers can participate in. So it's a very nice experience, very calm, lovely waking up in the morning, and you go up on deck and everything is wood and the sun is coming up, and it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. So we will arrive at the ship around 4 p.m. That's when embarkation starts. These times on the final vacation details, for instance, 6:30 p.m. When we get on board, we might find that that's, they might have changed the time, but we'll all be aware of everything once we get on board. And I also will be doing a daily schedule for our group. So every day. So for instance, the evening when we get on board on July 30th, I will then find out the schedule, the ship schedule for the next day. So I will put together a Singles Travel International schedule for us that will incorporate into it what the ship is doing. It will have all the important information, such as if we're arriving at a port, what time we're arriving, if there are excursions, what time each excursion is leaving. So that brings me to excursions. Have you all looked over and the excursion lists by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah, Susan,
I
you said
haven't.
no? So if
I've
you,
not.
when we meet in Rome, I will have a sign up sheet because the way it works, you can't sign up before the cruise. It's a first come, first served basis. So what I do is I take everyone's, I'll have you check off what you want to do, even if it's just for the first 2 or 3 days. Because sometimes, you find out later in the cruise, oh, maybe I want to do this, or you find out most of the group is doing one thing, so you decide to go with the group. So even for the first 3 days, let me know. I will, as soon as I get on board, the first thing I do after checking in is I run to the sign up desk and I sign us up for everything so that I want to make sure you get everything. If you are certain of everything you want to do, of course, put everything down. One thing that did happen last year is I had people on the first day sign up for pretty much the whole week, and then they kept changing their mind. That isn't a bad thing, except for if it happens, there's a cutoff date. And the cruise director was getting a little bit upset that people kept switching or canceling or not showing up. That's the worst part. If you don't show up and you haven't told anyone to scratch you off the list, that means someone else who might have wanted to go wasn't able to go. So anything you want to sign up for, let me know and I'll go and sign you up. And the way it works, I sign you up, I put your name, your cabin, and then the bill will go to your cabin. So you don't have, oops, I need to plug my computer in, excuse me. So there's no cash on board. Unless, some people really like to tip the bartenders because they feel like they get faster service. But again, the tip at the end, that also does go for the bartender. So there is no need, there's no extra need to tip. I just want to let you know that. Those tips at the end that you will likely pay, those go to the bartenders, the servers in the dining room, and the room stewards.
Vicky,
Yes,
this is Bruce. I have a question concerning the excursions.
sure.
Is there a way of figuring out what ports we actually dock at the town versus, some remote dock where we have to take a bus? Because I'm trying to use that to determine some of these excursions don't interest me, but if I'm at the town, at least I know I can get off the boat and, do my own thing in town.
Yes.
But I don't know which ports are going to allow for that.
Okay, so let's look. I'm going to look here and I can get that information for you from if I look at the itinerary, I should be able to also Ponza and Palmarola. Okay, so that one I have to look back on. Sorrento will be right there, and whether or not we'll be tendering, that's really the biggest issue. There are some ports, trying to think, KOTOR. We get up to all of these because it's a smaller ship. The only difference is, will we be pulling right up to a dock or will we be tendering? Do you know what that means? The tendering?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
it's Susan, I see you shaking your head.
I don't.
No, that's why I asked, because I didn't know either before I started cruising. It means that the ship will be anchored a little ways off the shore, and then we get in the smaller motorboats. Now they're not tiny, they hold about 50 people, and the smaller boats bring you to shore. So there are some that will surely have to tender in. Like I remember Taormina, which will actually be, I believe, tendering off of Giardini Naxos. That will be one that will be tendering. So Bruce, I will find out for you that exact question, but in my recollection, we're all just the farthest away we are from these ports is a tender ride.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, when I get to the dock, is the
Town.
city or town we're
Yes.
going to right there, or do you have to take a bus that's gonna be 30 minutes away?
So
That-
no,
that-
so Sorrento is right there. Taormina, like I said, will probably be off Giardini Naxos, which is a town. But if you want to go to Taormina, what they did last year is they had shuttles. The ship offered shuttles back and forth to Taormina.
Oh,
So,
that's perfect. So that would be outside of the listed excursions.
oh yeah, this is just
Oh.
you getting off, and also Corfu, I'm not sure because it's new. But there's definitely the town, like we will be there right off of the main town. Kotor is stunningly beautiful, you're right there in town. Dubrovnik, you're right there in town. Vish, you're right there. Kirk, I don't know if we went last year. These two I'll look into. These are, I think, new ports for me. But again, they're small. No, Vish, I think, was one of my favorite ones last year, actually. I think Vish. So in all of the ones I know about were right off of town. So you can just get off and do your own thing. I'm going to double check this Kirk and Cress.
I think I read on the information from the ship that Corfu is okay too, because I've been lost in Corfu before.
Oh,
And it's full of these little it's probably got streets and streets of nothing but tourist junk.
okay, yes.
Get off the beaten track, you can get lost where the laundry hangs out and the cats are over, and it's beautiful.
Oh,
I think Corfu, you'll probably be right near the town because
yes.
even the big cruise ships are there.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, so you won't be lacking for something to do if you don't do an excursion. And another thing I'll do is I'm going to look back in the past 2 years I've done these cruises, and let you all know in my email the excursions that people absolutely loved.
That
Just
would be very helpful.
for you to
Yeah.
get an idea, because I know there are some that they came back if I didn't go, because that's another thing I should tell you. Typically, I don't go on the excursions unless, let's say, so on this trip, it's 11 of us, including me. We're a small group. So if, let's say, all of you did the same one, then singles travel would have me go with you. Otherwise, I'm usually accompanying people into the town, the people who aren't on an excursion. Sometimes I will, if there's an excursion that I really want to do, and at least a portion of the group is doing, I may pay to do that, but you would be in good hands. You'd be with someone from the ship. You'll be with the local operators that Star Clippers has worked with for years. So, but I'll let you know of the excursions that people thoroughly enjoyed. I remember we
Thank you.
did, a wine tasting last year. Anyways.
Yeah, I have some that look, obviously they were good, but others, it just seems like you're stuck on a bus riding around, and those I'm not as excited about.
No. Yes, I understand. Okay, good. So let me just see if there's anything. We went over the shore excursions. Susan, there is a link in this document, the final, that under shore excursions. I don't know if you can see on my screen, my cursor. You click
I
on
see
it
it.
and it will bring you to the shore excursions.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Keep in mind, there is typically a minimum number of people needed for an excursion to go. I don't think no, I guess there were a couple last year that didn't reach the minimum. So at times there are ones that you might have really wanted to do and they don't go because they don't have enough people, Or if for whatever reason, if there's a port change because of wind or whatever the reason, that would be another reason for a change. So just to be aware that, you know, we're going to be on a sailing ship. And even though they do, in order to keep on schedule, they're using a combination of motor and sail, but they are more tied to, you know, problems with wind and things like that than a large cruise ship is. We have 2 theme nights. So the people who are new to singles travel, we always have theme nights on every single one of our trips. Because this is an 11-night cruise, we're doing 2. So our first one is, it's on every cruise I do. We do dress in white night. And it's always so beautiful, especially on the sailing ship. So we'll have a dress in white night. It does not have to be fancy. It can be white jeans and a white t-shirt. It can be whatever you want. Just bring something white. It can be, if you want to wear something fancy, it can be fancy. And we also have Amalfi Coast Chic. Now, I know technically Sorrento isn't the Amalfi Coast, but it's just around the corner. So that one I hope to do on the night that we are in Sorrento. So we're back on board 6 p.m. So typically for our theme nights, we get dressed for the event from happy hour on. And it's always fun. It's, you know, on other ones like Caribbean cruises, we do pirate night. So we're getting off easy this time, not having to get a costume. And new members will be getting the Singles Travel International t-shirt. If you have yours from the past, bring it. I'll try to get a picture of us out on the ropes. I forget what that's called in the front. The bowsprit, is that? I know that's something, but there are ropes out in the bow of the ship and you can lay on them even when the ship is sailing. So that's always a nice picture. And if you have not, I see quite a few people, let's see, have not provided flight info. If you could, even, let me look back on the arrival flights. No, we have it. I don't know why. Okay, so Pamela and Susan, have you provided your flight info and it just hasn't been updated on here, Susan?
Sandy.
I've provided
Oh,
it.
it's Sandy. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong
I think
line.
it's there, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sandy. Okay. Okay, great. Well, you all have done very well. So that's all the important information that I wanted to go over with you for today. So most of you, if not all of you, have already, excuse me, the sun is getting in my eyes. The sun is setting. I'm gonna shut this. Does that mean someone wants to enter?
No, I think it's my computer
Oh,
beeping.
okay.
And this is a new computer, so I have no idea how to turn off the beep.
Okay, that's fine. As long as I'm not ignoring someone who's been in the waiting room the whole time. Okay, so I am going to stop sharing now. And okay. And I'll answer any other questions. Just know that this will be easy and fun and something really to look forward to. I think you'll have a wonderful time. Vicki,
I have one question.
Sure.
Anybody who wants to really get a good look at the ship, Rennie did kind of researched and found some YouTube videos that are really fun. So if anybody wants to get a good look, but here's my real question. Those
Yes.
little things you crawl out on.
Yes.
Have you ever done it?
Yes.
And if so, how did you get back in?
I love it. Details.
It's really not difficult, believe it or not.
We will help you.
Yes, and you'll have help. You'll have help. And the captain. The
Well, I
captain
broke my arm. I broke my arm in February, so it's not real strong yet, but
Okay.
so Rennie wanted to do that. I said, you have a great time. I said, I could get out there, but getting back in might be a little difficult.
I looked at it again and I'm like, yeah, you're right. It looks hard.
It's not. And we'll be there to help you. The people you saw might have gone over, like you can, what is that? I don't know what it's called. The big thing in the bow, the big
Yeah.
piece of wood or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
They might have climbed on that. You don't have to climb on that. So you can get there easier by just climbing over. It's like, there's a rope there. It's not as difficult as it looks.
Oh, Vicky, you made my day here.
And you can climb the mast.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
gonna
forget that.
photograph me doing